My initial process started with understanding what the project was and all that was entailed with it. As the project now required you to explore the area of data physicalization, I had to shift my way of thinking from a digital medium to a physical one and explore the different avenues of data being represented in a tangible and meaningful form. With a clearer understanding of the project, I went about starting to collect my dataset. As in our group discussion, the area which I wanted to focus on was comparing my hometown Rimbey to the rest of Alberta. Some of the areas of comparison involved looking at statistics and numbers directly from the 2011 statistics such as population, median age of population, married and common law individuals, divorce rate, and etc. These datasets are intriguing mainly due to the fact that they allude to a broader story within that social context, such as a higher median population age may suggest that Rimbey is a retirement community. Next, I went about sketching a few ideas for representing data in a tangible form. Some areas I chose to explore were three-dimensional graphs that show the comparison datasets clearly against one another. One method that was suggested was the use of 3D printing, which was of interest to mine. However, I also wanted to see what other methods I could try. Thusly, I chose to look at irregular or unorthodox methods of representing data in such forms as sculpture. One aspect that was of paramount importance, especially for me in the sketching process, was the exploration of material. One material that was of particular interest for me was wire. Wire is a versatile and sometimes difficult material to work with, and one that can look absolutely beautiful, especially when done in sculptures, so I greatly entertained challenging myself to use this for my project. After meeting with Leanne and Michelle, they had suggested working with a more interesting dataset that would allow me to focus on a story within my dataset while making it more personable and more comparable rather than broad. Thus, they had suggested looking into more specific datasets within the places themselves. I had changed my data to focus on comparing the two places I had lived in my lifetime so far, Rimbey and Lethbridge. After some research into different datasets, I finally chose to focus on health within these two places. After searching for specific datasets around health in Rimbey and Lethbridge, I found a dataset with which I wanted to base my project around, which was the number of emergency room visits to the hospital in the year 2012 to 2013, categorized by triage level. The 5 triage levels which I based my dataset around were resuscitation and emergency, urgent, semi-urgent, non-urgent, and unknown. This number worked perfect as I had chosen to work with 5 different colored wires. After obtaining the dataset with which I wanted to work with, as well as purchase the necessary materials to create my project, the building process began. I chose to work with different colored wire I had bought to represent the different triage levels in my dataset, while metaphorically representing the chaotic nature of emergencies. From there, I chose to represent the number of visits correlated to triage level by height of the wrapped color wire to the base wire. As part of the initial design, I had planned on this being suspended from a wooden support system to better showcase this dataset in a more unique way. However, with complications of materials, I needed a quick fix which resulted in the cardboard pieces to emulate this suspension. The arrangement of the both sides of wire served to help illustrate the comparison of the two places and have the ability to maneuver to both sides to compare. Overall, I am happy with the turnout of this project, as I stayed true to the data and represent it in a different way. It is interesting to see how when data is represented physically, that it can show you anomalies you didn't even think existed or were possible, and tell a unique story about certain aspects of the data.